Your ex might feel fine right now, but that won't last forever. They seem happy. Did they even care? But what if I told you that over time, your ex is going to feel worse, not better? Number one on my list of why your ex feels worse over time is the cognitive dissonance delay. And what that is that right after the breakup, your ex feels relief and they feel in control. You feel like you don't have any control. That's one of the reasons that people in your situation so often will beg, because that's what you do when you feel you have no control, you have no power, you beg for mercy. And that's what you're doing when you're begging your ex to take you back or to love you again. You're begging for their mercy because you feel you have no leverage. You feel you have nothing to offer. And so you're just begging. But emotions don't work on logic. They work on experience. And at the moment, your ex doesn't have experience being without you. And even if they do, since it's not their most recent experience, they tend to focus on the emotions of this idea of freedom, this idea of getting away from you, getting the difficult part over with of breaking up with you, and moving on to this glorious freedom without you, to where they will find this elusive happiness that seems to change so much for all of us based on the week. And what happens is that in time, as you stay silent, because you're using my no contact rule, right? They start to live in this cognitive dissonance. And that's basically when you are doing something that you have doubts about. That could be doing something wrong when you know what's right, and things like that. In this case, it's being broken up with you, living a life without you, not going back to you when they have doubts. And they all have doubts. Your ex has doubts. It's not 100%. Instead, it was just enough to get them to break up with you. So even in bad situations, there is still some doubt. In good situations, there's a lot more doubt, a lot more cognitive dissonance. And that's where what happens with time is that it's difficult to have that nagging voice. And when that nagging voice suggests you do something different, you tend to doubt what you're doing. You tend to wonder if this is the right decision because that doubt is there. And since you have chosen to follow that decision, the doubt becomes even louder because your silence makes them wonder if, first of all, they could lose something, that it could be a negative if they stick with this decision and ignore that voice. And in time, they get tired of fighting against it. But they have to have time where they fight and they get tired. They get exhausted of it. And they have to have reason to believe that ignoring that voice could cost them, that they could lose you. And that's what no contact does. And as they experience being broken up with you, as I'm going to get into in this video, they start to experience some of those negatives, which gives more volume to that voice of doubt. And that's why it's on a delay, is because they actually have to experience time without you, which is very frustrating for you when you want back together with them right now. But unfortunately, you can't rush it. It's like in my old videos, I used to talk about by putting a cake in the oven and turning the heat up, you don't get the cake faster, to the disappointment of the 12-year-old version of me. Because turning up the oven heat, just like my mom told me, did not get the cake in my mouth any faster. It just gave me burnt cake. And so patience is your superpower right now, because they actually have to experience a negative situation to change their emotions, unless you have someone who has the intellectual honesty to listen to the logic in the situation, which most of us have great difficulty doing that. And so you're more likely to have your ex experience a negative situation, a negative life without you and missing you and those kinds of things. And that impacts and informs their emotions, because their feelings, we talk about that all the time. My feelings changed. I feel this, trying to figure this out. I don't know what I feel. We let feelings rule us to such a ridiculous degree. They toss us all over the place and they change constantly. But this is what you face with your ex right now. They must experience the negatives to change their emotions. Number two, no contact forces a reality experience. Because right after they broke up with you, it was a concept of living without you, a concept of not being in a relationship with you. And as difficult as it is, you don't want to save them from that. You want them to have to experience the reality of not having you. And you may think, well, if they don't want me and they're not attracted to me, isn't reality without me what they want? It's what they think they want. It's what they think and feel that they want in that moment. But until they have lived it, they don't know. And really, you don't know either. You don't know what they really want. And so it's important for them to get to experience life without you and to have that reality experience. Before I get to number 3, get my $7 reunion blueprint. It's at reunionblueprint.com. It will help you get your ex back. It's a powerful guide. It sums up what they're feeling. It tells you what you need to do. And it's only $7. It's only $7 at reunionblueprint.com. And if you're married, get my free mini course on saving a marriage. It's at marriageradio.com under the marriage help section. That's my free mini course on saving your marriage, because married relationships are different than dating relationships. So get to Marriage Radio, go to the marriage help section, and get my free mini course on saving a marriage. Thank you for your support and for listening to my commercial. Number 3 on the list of why your ex feels worse over time is nostalgia. Nostalgia kicks in, and that's basically the good memories of the past. Maybe you remember summer as a kid. You had ice cream, there were fireworks. Hopefully you didn't have to go to school, and you look back now and remember that with great fondness. And when I was in college, all I wanted to do was get out of college. I thought it was the worst time, and if I could just get out of there. And then when I got out of there, I wanted to go back. I romanticized the past. I remembered the good times. I didn't remember the difficult professors. I remembered the time with friends. I remembered the sense of freedom, feeling like I was living on my own, and that I was just on the cusp of being a grown-up who could do what he wanted to do. And those things make me want to go back. But when I was there, I didn't want to be there. So that's how nostalgia works. And what's interesting is that psychological science tells us that negative emotions fade faster than positive emotions. It's actually for our own emotional health, but for most people, negative emotions go away and they remember the positive ones. When you're just sitting there remembering the past, you probably remember the highlights, the fun times. That's very natural to do. And so your ex with time begins to remember those positive times and even may ask themselves, goodness, did we even have any negative times? Now, of course, they will be able to remember those, but people tend to remember them less. And so they put more emphasis on the positive memories. They are easier to remember because there is a stifling effect by your mind to protect you from the negatives. That's why people have repressed memories that they don't want to think about anymore, that they can't even fathom thinking about, because it's as though they're re-traumatizing themselves just by thinking about it. And so it's not fun. You are not drawn to the negative memories. You are drawn to the positive ones. That's why we romanticize the past. We remember the positive memories of the past. And your ex can do the same thing. And it can cause them to think, what have I done? And you being in no contact and them having to wonder what that means. Why are you not chasing me down anymore? Why are you not begging me anymore? Have you gotten over me? Do you have someone else? Because that can change things. Because at the present, or at least up until now, they've kind of assumed they could always get you back. And I'm going to talk about that in the next point. Number 4, the dual supply illusion. This is really interesting. I see this a lot with married people when someone has an affair. And what it is that maybe they're not completely fulfilled by their spouse, or at least they don't think they are. A lot of times it's because of two selfish people, or it's because they haven't talked to their spouse about it, or because they just assume that it would be better with someone else. And they will go seek this need. But if they stay with their spouse and they're having a secret affair, and their spouse is supplying them with certain things, and the affair partner is supplying other needs, the person can actually feel fulfilled because they're getting their needs met by two different people. But in time, that tends to collapse because of the way that emotional intimacy works and the desire for one person. Even though sometimes we may think we want lots of people, it usually comes back to one person. And so the dual supply illusion, it can be another person, but it can also be the sense that they are wanted, that someone wants them, someone thinks they are attractive. And for people especially, if they are borderline personality disorder or if they are clinical narcissists, which is extremely rare, and people need to stop throwing that word around. But if they are like that, and I mean that they have traits like a narcissist, which that's what a selfish person will have. That's what an entitled person will have. They can tend to think, well, I broke up with him, but he still wants me. And that feels really good. And so they kind of get the fulfillment of being in the relationship by feeling that. Well, she still wants me, even though I broke up with her, so I can go do whatever, with the comfort and that place in my heart still being filled because I know this person still wants me. It's nice for the old ego, and it also is nice for the emotions, because wanting to be wanted is a great thing. We all want to be wanted and desired, and we all should be wanted and desired by someone. I wish that for every one of you. And so that part's okay. But then you get people, of course, who are spoiled and entitled and narcissistic like. And for them, it's boosting their ego in addition to giving them a basic human need. And so they can go ahead with the breakup, feeling fulfilled for a time, knowing that you want them. And that's why I tell people, back off. The sooner you back off, the sooner you shut up, the sooner you are silent and stop trying to get closure and stop trying to explain yourself and tell them your feelings. The more you tell them how much you love them, the more that they can walk away feeling you still love them and they haven't lost that love, and so they get to keep it. And they get to stay broken up with you and still keeping your love. And it makes it a lot easier. It enables them. It enables them. Don't enable your ex. No contact erodes dual supply illusion. And when they start doubting and wondering if you still feel the same way, because if you did, wouldn't you be reaching out? Wouldn't you be contacting them? Wouldn't you be begging and crying and pleading and writing letters? That's what they wonder. They think they would. If they still wanted me, that's what they would be doing. What's going on? And then they can actually feel something I talk about a lot, the loss. Because they don't feel the loss right after the breakup. They feel control. They're getting what they want. At least that's what they think. And they still have your love. So they are getting the best of both worlds. It's impossible to hurt when you're getting the best of both worlds. And you need them to hurt, to feel negative things to come back to you. So let them feel the negative things. Be quiet. Be silent. Don't chase them down and let them feel that worship. Don't boost their ego and don't give them the fulfillment of feeling wanted by you. Back off and let them wonder if breaking up with you blew their chances with you. That's what they have to feel. And if you let them feel that, they will feel worse over time. And that leads me to number 5. They will feel the fear of replacement. Because if you replace them with someone else, and your want and your desire and your love is for someone else, then they will no longer feel your love and your want and your desire. And so now they will feel that emptiness of the breakup. Now they will give more power and they will listen to that voice that tells them maybe this was a mistake, because now they're losing things. And when doubt starts really creeping in, as they start to feel this is more negative than I thought, and this person might have someone else, maybe they don't love me, so I'm not feeling fulfilled by that, then the doubt about the original decision to break up with you becomes strong. And they feel they have to do something. That's where you can get that sense of urgency. That's when you can get that reach out. How you doing? Just want to see how you're doing. They're wanting you to tell them, oh, I missed you so much. I love you so much. Please come back to me. Oh, that feels good. Now I know they still want me. Okay, I can go back to breakup land without you and feel like I have the best of both worlds. But if you don't respond that way, if you just respond casually and mirror them, then you cause that lingering doubt, and they can actually feel the loss, which so often we have to lose something or fear losing it to actually appreciate how wonderful it is. And that's what your ex needs to feel. Get my reunion blueprint at reunionblueprint.com. It's only $7. There's no excuses on the price. Anyone can get it. reunionblueprint.com. And if you're married, get my free mini course on saving a marriage at marriageradio.com in the marriage help section. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like this, click the subscribe button. You can book a coaching session with me at myexbackcoach.com. That's myexbackcoach.com. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.